Hi there, guys and gals, gearhead mechanics and do-it-yourselfers. I'm Mr. D of DLD Automotive, where rebuilding engines is both a hobby and a ministry. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some things you probably have not seen before. Not magic tricks, just helpful information and ways of doing things that will make it easier to remove and install a 3.7 engine and how to easily make a floor stand for storage. So let's get to it. First of all, you're going to need to go to your local box store. In my case, I went to Real King and buy these bolts. You're going to need 2 bolts that are 8mm by 1.25 pitch, approximately 1 1/4 inch long. You're going to need 4 bolts that are 10mm by 1.50 pitch and approximately 70mm or 2.5 inches long. You're also going to need some washers. So be sure and have those on hand. Okay, first of all, on the back of the engine. In the process of rebuilding this engine, I discovered some things that are not necessarily obvious and are easy to overlook. On the back of the head, there are holes, threaded holes, and they are for 8mm bolts with a 1.25 pitch, as you can see here. So these bolts are approximately 1.25 inches long. I don't know what the millimeter is on that, I forgot, but they're probably around 40 millimeters. So by securing the chain to the back of the head on both sides, there's a similar hole over on this side. This is a chain that I made. This has 9 links on this side, on the passenger side, and 10 links on the driver's side to get around this platform here. Now on the front of the motor, I used the chain that came with this hoist, which I bought in Harbor Freight. I think it was around $30. So now I'm just going to raise it. I used these brackets, which came with this, and used the bolts out of the water pump, the longest bolts out of the water pump, which also go through the timing chain cover into the block. So those are plenty stout. It probably got 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch all the way into the block. Now I'm going to lift the motor and show you how to build this stand, which it is sitting on right now. And as you can see, it's inside the frame of the hoist, which makes it easier to set it down or raise it up or move it around. Okay, here we go. I'm going to raise this up. Alrighty, now this adjusts it as far as your level when you're putting it in or taking it out, so that you can line it up with your transmission. And if you're taking an engine out of a Jeep Liberty, you know how tight it is. So you want the motor to be as far in to the firewall as possible with this hoist. Okay, now the stand. The stand is amazingly simple. I'm just going to disconnect it here. Okay. Now, see these threaded holes right here? Those threads are the same as the engine mount bolts. The engine mount bolts are up here. These threaded holes on the bottom of the motor are there for something to do with the manufacturing process. So these bolts are 10mm by 1.50 pitch, and they fit right in there. So what you do is you get a block of wood, preferably a 2x10, I used a 2x8 because I had a 2x8 on hand. And you measure from the back of the engine, measure to that first hole right there. Excuse me, down here. From the back of the engine to the first hole, I measured 6.5. To the second hole, 12 3/4. Well, actually I used 6 and 12 1/4. Okay. Yeah, the reason I did that is because you don't want your stand to extend back too far. I wanted to be able to put my flywheel on while it was on the stand. So I measured 6 inches, 12 1/4 inches. I drilled a 3/8 inch hole at those locations. I dropped it down 1.5 inches. Anywhere between 1 and 1.5 inches would be good. And then I screwed these skids on the bottom. Makes it nice for, more stable, nice for moving around. Okay, so it's just a simple matter of bolting this to the block. Oh, there's my washer. The washer's in the wood. Yeah, there it is. Okay, washer. It's a good thing to have the washer on so it doesn't compress the wood too much. Start that one by hand. Start this one by hand. It's kind of hard to see in this light. There it is. Okay, I want to make sure that the threads are started properly. You don't want to cross thread anything. Okay. And there you have it. Now I did the same thing on the other side, as you can see. Over on this side I wasn't so particular about the length of it. I left it a little long. You can make it just about any length you want. I've got two 2x4s on the bottom for skids. And as I said, if you use a 2x10, you would only need one 2x4. So now, as you can see, you can raise it up, lower it down on the hoist without any interference from the hoist. Here we go. Just going to let it down. Okay. Now we're freestanding. And that's all there is to it. If I can do it, you can do it.